Welcome back. Time to crank up the heat. Let's bring in my Sunday night panellists. They are the mighty Prue McSween, New South Wales Senator Holly Hughes and Labor legend Graham Richardson. Welcome, team.
Thanks, Smithy.
Good evening, Smithy. Exciting night for you.
Yes, there is that. That'll come a little bit later. Before we discuss a new leadership team in New South Wales, I can't believe that the first Premier to exit the daily stage is Gladys Berejiklian. Prue, was there no other way?
Well, I don't think so, Smithy. You know, she'd set a standard for others who'd been in the sights of ICAC. I think she had no alternative but to go. It would have been too much of a cloud above her. So, you know, she took the... sorry, I've got someone ringing on my bell. She took the... ringing my bells, that's what I need right now. But, you know, I think that she needed to go because it was just too impossible for her to, you know, stay in the light of it. And I think it's really sad for the people of New South Wales. She's done a fabulous job, but there was no alternative, Smithy.
Yeah, all right. If that is Gladys, can you put her on in replacement of you, please?
Get up. Some Penrith supporter, probably.
ICAC, Richo, ICAC, they'd better have something up their sleeve we don't know about because the mob is angry.
Yeah, they are. And, you know, this is not the first innocent person to fall victim to ICAC, and she won't be the last that has a record of doing it, and we allow it to keep happening. Why, I don't know. But one thing's for sure, I do not believe that Gladys Berejiklian will have done anything crook. She is, whether she's my opponent in the opposing party or not, doesn't matter. She's an honourable person. And I think for her to go out this way is absolutely disgraceful. Now, there must be something we don't know, but knowing Berejiklian, I can't imagine it's all that bad. She is a pretty good person, a stickler for the rules. I can't imagine that she's done anything grossly wrong.
Philip Roddick made a very good point today, Holly. We developed a corruption model based on the Hong Kong ICAC, but they don't hold public hearings. If there is to be a federal ICAC, we've got to learn from this, don't we?
And that is one of the proposals under the federal corruption investigation body that's being put forward that Labor is opposing, is that any investigations, any hearings, like they are held predominantly around the world in any of these bodies, that they're initially conducted in secret. Because if we look at ICAC, it's become you're guilty by accusation. It's the complete reversal when it comes to onus of proof when it gets to looking at our court system. And if you look at the track record of ICAC and the number of careers, the number of people's lives that they have absolutely turned upside down, smeared and diminished through setting up inquiries into them, and then look at the number of DPP prosecutions that have occurred and followed through, we are talking a tiny, tiny number. It's become a star chamber that's a power unto itself. No one is suggesting that there shouldn't be some investigation to look into these sorts of allegations, but to conduct them in public in the way that they're done, with the complete, that sort of assumption that there must be guilt attached to it, plus the timeliness, and I think to Gladys's point, some ICAC investigations don't report for 4 to 5 years. People's lives are under a cloud for an extended period of time with, there can be no justification for that. And then usually it's for them to be cleared.
So it seems as if it's a done deal. Dominic Perrottet, New South Wales Premier, Stuart Ayres, his deputy. Imagine, Prue, if they'd gone ahead with Matt Keane to IC.
Oh, my God, that was my worst nightmare. If that bloke got in, and you must have the photographs of everybody doing obscene things to be able to get to where he is. I mean, the guy is a joke. And if he got on the ticket, then I reckon most Liberal voters would not vote for him. The Greenies would vote for him. The Laborites would vote for him because that's what he is. He's a Trojan horse Liberal. And I just think he's pathetic. And I'm so glad that Stuart Ayres is on the ticket because he is a Western Suburbs go-getter. And I reckon it's a great combo. I think Perrottet will do really well. He's got an eye on business. He wants to get this economy moving now. And I think it's a great combination.
Richo, does it open the door for New South Wales Labor, as I mentioned earlier tonight?
Well, I think there's a little light appearing from the next room. So, yeah, I guess the door is slightly ajar, but that's all I'd say. I mean, it's not as if Gladys has gone and the job's gone to a mug. This bloke's one of the brightest blokes I've ever met. I've said repeatedly that he and Paul Keating are the two most intelligent people to go into politics that I've known. And so this bloke is incredibly bright, and he'll be very, very hard to shift. So I think I wouldn't be drinking champagne if I were in the Labor Party. I'd stick with a glass of Chardonnay. I wouldn't go too far.
Holly, New South Wales Minister Andrew Constance engineering a move to Canberra through the seat of Gilmore. Can he win back the seat for the Liberals given current polling?
I think he can absolutely win the seat back for the Liberals. But just to keep in mind, Andrew is leaving state parliament, but is nominating for pre-selection for Eden Monero, for Gilmore, sorry. And I just would like to make the point, this is very different when you look at Fowler and when you look at Hunter, where the opposition leader, Albo's, decided to just parachute in his star candidates. Andrew is actually nominated for pre-selection for the seat of Gilmore. Gilmore last time had a very different landscape. If you look at the candidates that were running, we had a three-cornered with the Nationals. We also had an independent running who had been a Liberal in Grant Schultz. So it was quite a split Conservative vote at the last election. Once we get a candidate into Gilmore, I would hope that we would see a Liberal versus Labor contest, and I think absolutely Gilmore is a seat that will be coming back into the fold.
Prue, Bill Shorten today said he'd welcome a vaccination mandate for all MPs. Should it happen? Will it happen?
Well, Shorten's an opportunist. You know, he's trying to get his head up wherever he can to try and wrest it back from Albanese. I suppose if you are telling people or advising people that they should be vaccinated, it's more do as I do, not as I say. And so I can see where there's an argument for encouraging and imposing or mandating on politicians to do the double vax. But I also believe it's a personal choice, as it is in the community.
Yeah.
They represent the community.
Well, hang on. You better tell that to Dan Andrews.
Oh, yeah, of course. Well, you couldn't tell him anything. He wouldn't listen to anyone. He's got his own, ideas of what's going on. And the bloke, needs to concentrate on delivering the 4,000 bloody ICU beds that he was supposed to do, but conveniently forgot. And, his whole vaccination message, he wouldn't be in this state that he is, or the state that he wouldn't be in the state it is, if he had been mantering the vaccination message rather than trying to play politics all the time.
Yeah, start talking about AstraZeneca, which he's only started to do in the last 3 weeks.
Exactly.
Listen, I've got to raise this. I was stunned today, talking Victoria, watching those nurses speak at the Victorian COVID press conference. What they have seen in the front line of ICU, well, it's heartbreaking and the rest. Have a listen to some of this.
One of the saddest things I've seen over the last few weeks is people wanting the vaccination just before we put them on a life support machine. That is the absolute truth. I've seen it myself. They're begging for the vaccination. They're very young. And once we get to that and we're about to put them on life support, it is really too late. They can have the vaccination down the track, that can be an option, but right then in their healthcare journey, it is too late. And their families are remorseful. They're begging us to give them the vaccination.
Oh, what a terrible image. Richo, I still can't believe the vaccine penny hasn't dropped for about 10% of the nation. Can you?
Well, there's always a few people like that. You'll get your mugs. And it's up to all of us when we find someone who hasn't had the vaccination to be pressuring them to do it. I mean, it is crazy not to do it. Anti-vaxxers are, by definition, stupid, and we should give them no time whatsoever.
Prue McSween, Senator Holly Hughes, Richo, have a fantastic week and enjoy whatever you're watching tonight too, by the way.
Go the bunnies.
Good to have you with us. All right.
Thanks, Smithy.
Coming up, the co-creator of Airtasker, Australia's Tim Fung, is on the couch. After just 9 years, his startup local jobs website is now valued at $250 million. He's a whiz and he's next.